feels comfortable talking about feminism? Who here doesn't? Regardless of the social hurdles this topic encounters, the socio-political movement of feminism has been a topic of significant academic discussion for many decades. The term feminism itself implies a system of beliefs and social practices that aim to promote gender equity and empower people of all genders. The feminist movement has its roots in the early 20th century, when women in Europe and America began organizing to demand equal rights and opportunities. Feminism has since evolved into a multifaceted movement by encompassing a range of ideological approaches and diverse agendas. But none of this would be possible without metropolitan cities like Milwaukee's contribution to feminism and its cultural changes. But this poses the question: how has feminism been prevalent in large cities like Milwaukee? And how has Milwaukee contributed to this form of activism? To speak on feminism, we must start from the beginning. According to Britannica, there are many different waves of feminism. One of the earliest forms of feminism is liberal feminism, which emerged in the 20th century. Liberal feminists focused on attaining political and civil rights for women, such as the right to vote, equal pay, and access to education and employment opportunities. Emerging in the 20th century, it became the first major push for feminism in the United States. Another form of feminism is radical feminism, which emerged in the 1960s. Radical feminism argued that patriarchy is the root of women's oppression, and women's liberation is rooted in the fundamental change in society and gender roles. Radical feminists argued that changes in social institutions like family, marriage, and sexuality can create a new social order based on gender equity. The third wave of feminism is known as progressive or modern feminism, and it was thought to be established in 2008 and continues to this day. This wave of feminism aims to combat sexual harassment, sexual assault, and deliberate misogyny in the American workplace. Similar to the phases of feminism, Milwaukee has also been through many different evolutions when it comes to both their feminist groups and the expansion of their message. This city has seen many different eras of activism, through establishing support groups, protesting against gender inequality, and eventually their usage of social media. Milwaukee has been a standout in the terms of funding projects aimed at gender equity and spreading their message through the greater Milwaukee area. The feminist movement began to take prevalence in Milwaukee with the establishment of the Women's Coalition of Milwaukee. The Women's Coalition of Milwaukee began to operate in 1962, and it was independently founded by individual members of the National Organization for Women. They created a chapter for the city of Milwaukee, and their goal was to both interpret their message to all genders and empower women of Milwaukee to make social changes at the time. According to the WCM, this group has been contributing to women's education in Milwaukee through donating money in forms of grants and scholarships since 1985. And they have donated approximately $3 million in support of women and girls in this community. Women's healthcare access in Milwaukee continues to be a useful resource in different types of care, and this is largely attributed to the integration of Planned Parenthood. The services at Planned Parenthood range from sexual education, support groups for any gender regarding domestic or sexual violence, both pregnancy and STD testing and prevention, and even psychiatric counseling for many mental health-related issues. According to the Planned Parenthood of Milwaukee, educators at Planned Parenthood provide a comprehensive sexuality education that is age-appropriate, medically accurate, and culturally competent to youth and adult audiences. Planned Parenthood gives women the chance to live a prosperous life, and limiting the amount of health care can be detrimental to millions of women's lives. The idea of feminism and activism in Milwaukee has created a prevalent change to this community, and the equity between genders is a mindset that should be encouraged and practiced according to these groups. Without the contribution of women's healthcare and women's advocacy groups in Milwaukee, the outlook for inclusion in the city would look strikingly different. They have made the education regarding marginalization of women more accessible, and feminism in Milwaukee would not be relevant without them. The fight for equality has been relevant in this city's culture for many years. Though feminism can be a loaded topic for some of us, it is one that we can see being practiced all around us, even in our own backyard.